Earlier this week, I received my hospitality management certificate from Cornell University. I earned this through their eCornell program, their online learning platform. When I first signed up for the program, I couldn't find a lot of information about how it all worked. I wanted to know what the time commitment really was, what the platform was like, how I would earn this qualification, how I would go through these courses. The Cornell website is a source of great information if you're interested in eCornell. You want to know which classes are required for which certificate. Check out their website. They list everything out there. But I wanted to know from people who had done it before. What was it really like? How does it work? So that's why I'm making this video. Stick around to the end, as I'll have a neat little trick that might help you take a much needed vacation after you are done with this program as well. Now, for starters, just so you have a little background on who I am, why I took a hospitality management program, I'm a cruise director. I work on board a cruise ship for 8 months out of the year. Right now, I love the role that I have. I have no aspirations to go beyond it. Very happy where I am, but you never know. Plus, it's always great to be learning, to be growing. So since I am in the hospitality field, I'm curious about how everything else around it works, so I enrolled in this program. Now, I also enrolled because my employer offers a tuition reimbursement program, so why not? The way the program works for me at my company is I first get pre-approval. I say, these are the classes I want to take. This is how much it costs. They have a cap on how much you can get back each year through this reimbursement program. So I submitted that pre-approval process. I wait for them to send the form back with the thumbs up saying, go for it. Once I got that, then I enrolled. So I'd actually been looking at programs at eCornell really for over a year. But then finally, once I got that approval done, that's when I enrolled in it, and then started my learning journey through Cornell, if you will. So I actually completed all of this while I was on board. So when I'm on board, I work every single day, 7 days a week, between 7 and 12 to 13 hours a day, depending on the day. So very, very busy days and working every day. I don't have a weekend, and I was able to complete this in actually less than the time that they say. So very possible for you, no matter what your situation is. So for the hospitality management certification, I had to take 6 classes. I had to take a class in understanding financial statements, services, marketing, planning, and management, building guest loyalty, introduction to hotel operations, building high-performing teams, and a pricing and revenue management essentials course. Now, the courses aren't too important because whatever you enroll in, they'll obviously be different. Again, check the Cornell website. Lots of great information about what the courses are, what will be required to get whatever you are going for. On that website, it listed that for this program, it would be a 3-month commitment. So it would be 6 classes that you have to take over 3 months. And they said that you would need 3 to 5 hours per week to complete these classes. So you're looking at 6 to 10 hours per course. In my experience, some of these courses took 8 hours. I'm not sure that there were any that only took 6. Maybe I could have got it done faster, but some took 8. There were some that took, I would say, at minimum 10, maybe even 12 hours, just depending on the class. Now, these are completely self-directed, and that's what I couldn't really find out before I enrolled. I knew that most of it was self-directed, meaning you just learn as you go, but this program, fully self-directed. Okay, so when you enroll, you have a chance to set your schedule. You can either just enroll in one class at a time. For me, I wanted to get these done as quickly as possible. I was trying to get them all done before the end of the year, and actually before even my vacation came up, or certainly before my vacation was done and I went back on board. So I enrolled all at once and scheduled them all just back to back, all of these classes. But you can enroll just one at a time if you want. Then you take one and then do the other. They have a time frame that everything needs to be done. I think maybe within a year or a couple years at eCornell, you need to complete all of these and then get your certificate. Again, check the eCornell website for more. But you enroll in these classes so that you know which class you are taking when. Then when your class starts, they send you an email a day or two before saying your class is starting soon. Then just whenever you want, you go onto the website and you do all the modules that they have for you. There are deadlines because there are different assignments that you have to do throughout there. You have to comment on message boards. There are quizzes you have to take. There's a project you have to submit with a lot of classes. So then in the syllabus of each course, they do give you deadlines, but they say those deadlines are only guidelines. They're just there to keep you on track. You could wait until the last day of the course and just do everything and submit it, and it would be fine. Those deadlines are just there to guide you. There was something I was surprised about. In each course, I think it was in every course, definitely in most of the courses, there were 2 or 3 live sessions. I didn't know anything about these. I actually didn't attend any of them, and there's no penalty if you don't attend. So I don't know if people attend, maybe everyone was there, but maybe no one was there. I don't know. But there are live sessions where if you want to know more, go deeper, you could then attend these. Working on board, it was really hard to be able to have free time at the same time that this live session was, so that's why I never did any of the live sessions, but you can if you want to. Also, there was one class that I had to wait for more information. It was like this online game simulation that we had to play, and so I was kind of racing through the modules, getting everything done, was ready to play this game so I could do the next part of the project, and it said, okay, you have to enter your access key. I didn't have the access key yet, so I contacted the course facilitator, and he said, oh, I'm going to send them all out this weekend. So that kind of threw my timeline off a little bit. I had a lot of time at the end of one week where I was planning on completing everything. He wasn't sending it out to the weekend, so I had to wait and then get it at that time. So that was something that threw me off a little bit, but out of the 6 classes, that was the only time that was the case. The other 5, you just do it whenever you want. You can do one module one day, one the next day. You can do everything in one day. I have read that they recommend spending an hour a day, at least through the work week. That didn't really work for my schedule. I was on what's called a repeat itinerary, where every week we did the same thing. I knew where my gaps were, so I had 2 big chunks in the afternoon, or really when we were in port too, that I knew, okay, I've got time, I'll do 2 or 3 hours here. Was able to knock a lot out at one time. But whatever works for you, you can do it every evening. You can knock out almost all of it in a weekend if you want to. So, how it works. Like I said, you enroll, you have this online dashboard. There's actually 2 different websites that they will send you when you enroll. One is the learning management system, the LMS, and then the other one is kind of like your profile with Cornell. So there it has all your personal information. That's where you go to schedule all of your classes. In the LMS, in the learning management system, that's where all of your courses live. So that's the dashboard. When a course is coming up, that's where you go to get access to it. Once you get in there, then you see all of the modules down the left-hand side. Within the modules, it's a mix of videos, reading assignments, so different articles that you have to read, message boards where you're interacting with your classmates, quizzes that you have to take, and then a course project as well. Most of the courses had this course project. The course project is usually broken into 3, 4, 5 parts, typically 1 per module. So when you finish the first module, you get to the end, it says course project part 1. You download this document that has all of the questions for your project. They want you to fill in part 1 when you finish module 1, and then when you finish module 2, you do part 2. So that you just keep it going. Then at the end of the last module, when you get to the project part, you complete it, you save it all as one document, and you submit it at that time. So it's kind of ongoing throughout that one course. Now in the videos, it's typically 1 professor featured in each video. So 1 professor throughout the whole course. So whatever they teach at Cornell, that's what they're teaching here in eCornell. The videos are broken down into pretty short videos. Maybe the longest one was 7 minutes, but most of them are under 5 minutes. So they're pretty short videos that you can go through. So there's the professor you see on the video, but then there's also the course facilitator. The course facilitator is the person you interact with. It's who grades your assignments, grades your quizzes. It's who comments on the message boards as well. It's who you reach out to when you have a question. So when I needed that key for the simulation that I needed to do, I reached out to my course facilitator and he was able to provide that. So you've got the professor, just going to see them on video. Then you have the facilitator that you can interact with if you have questions. What I really liked about this eCornell program is that it was completely self-directed. Again, this is what I couldn't find out for sure ahead of time. Maybe some of the other certificate programs are different, but for mine, completely self-directed. I scheduled the classes when I wanted to do them. They do have times. It's not available, any day of any week. They do have, okay, this class starts at this day, this one starts at this day. I believe they run for 2 weeks, and they start on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I believe they start on Wednesdays for my classes, and then you have 2 weeks to do it. But you schedule them, what fits for your schedule, you do the work, what fits for your schedule, and submit it within the 2 weeks that your course is live. I also liked that it wasn't too time-consuming. I was afraid that I was getting in a bit over my head, again, working every single day with no days off. Not a lot of time that I would be able to dedicate to this if it was really time intensive. But as I mentioned, some of the classes took me 6 hours to complete, some took me 10, maybe 12, but you have 2 weeks to do it, so still very, very manageable to get it done. What I also really liked is that each course has a downloadable course transcript. So I actually, when each course would start, the first thing I would do was I would download the transcript, put it on my iPad, then as I would go through the course, I was able to follow along. So you can watch the videos and then just follow through, and I was able to highlight things as I went. Sometimes I would also make sketches that illustrate whatever was being talked about. That really helped me. Just watching the video, I probably wouldn't comprehend everything. Plus, then I was able to look at the transcript when it came time for the quiz or the project, and I need to figure out whatever it was that we were talking about. So I really like that you can download that transcript, and they have some other tools available too. Plus, then that transcript is yours to keep. So I no longer have access to the videos for courses that closed. So a few years from now, maybe I'll have a different role on board. I'll want to refer back to some things that were talked about in my class. I can always go back to those transcripts and have a look at what was said. So those are really helpful. I also like that things were broken down into modules. It wasn't just like, here's all the info, go for it. It's broken down so you feel like you're accomplishing things as you move through those modules. And like I said, each video was very short. I was expecting to watch an hour-long lecture, just like when you're in college. I thought you would watch this long lecture and take notes and then have a quiz. But it's not like that at all. It's very bite-sized content, so easy to consume. Even if I just had a few minutes in between events, I would watch a video, read through the transcript, and be able to keep moving forward. So I really liked all of that about the course. Now, some things I didn't like as much. The platform, the learning management system, can definitely use some improvements. It was a bit confusing. It was hard to tell whether or not you had even completed the course. After you submitted everything, you can go into one area where your grades are and you just see everything has a check mark next to it, but it would never say if it was really completed. I mean, there's so many learning platforms now. Look at LinkedIn Learning. You can very easily see your progress. You know when you're done, here's your certificate. They could really use some improvements on that platform. They can also really use some improvements on the videos. I know these are subject matter experts. They're very knowledgeable in their field. I mean, they teach at Cornell University, so it's great to hear from the experts. But at a time when we do have things like Masterclass and LinkedIn Learning and so many other platforms, TED Talks, where you can hear from experts and they're all very well produced, this was typically just someone talking, reading off of a teleprompter, sometimes stumbling through what they were going to say. There were some nice graphics and animations next to them occasionally, but in general, the speakers could use a bit of improvement. They could edit a bit better, in my opinion. I also didn't love that the projects were submitted at the very end. So I had no idea if I was on the right track. Was I putting in too much time and effort to the projects? Was it not enough? It would be nice to submit those as you go so you can get a bit more feedback. I could probably reach out to the facilitator and ask questions on it as I went, but I just went through the assignments and hoped for the best, basically. But if you get to the end, especially if you save it till the day before it's due and then find out that you didn't do it correctly, how are you going to have time to fix it? I also found that the course descriptions could be improved a little bit. Like I said, this had 6 different classes. In it, the first one I took was Understanding Financial Statements, which I actually loved. But I was surprised that that's just the class from their regular business school. It had no connection to hotels or hospitality or anything whatsoever, which is fine. I guess the statements are the same, but I was expecting every class that I had to be focused on hospitality. There was another class that was very focused on restaurants. Still part of the hospitality field, but I was expecting more hotel information than I actually got, so they could improve a bit of those descriptions, what is expected. Also, things weren't as deep and detailed as I was expecting. Again, makes sense. You're only spending 6 to 10 hours on each one of these courses. That's essentially the level of knowledge of a book. It's not a deep dive. You're not getting a masterclass on any of these. It's not even a full semester course. It's 6 to 10 hours. That's not a lot of time, so you're not going to go super deep. You're not going to become an expert in any of these fields. More like just a good introduction to all of these topics. So at the end of this, am I glad that I took it? Was it a good idea? Yes. Absolutely, yes. I definitely learned things in each course, things that I can apply to my job now, things that I can see helping me in the future. So I am very glad that I took this course. Who else should take this course? First of all, if your company offers this as part of your professional development or they offer a tuition reimbursement program, go for it. If your company is going to pay for it, do it. I am a big believer in taking advantage of any benefits that you can from your company. So if they offer this, if you're interested in it, if it's going to help you grow in your career, do it. Enroll in this course. If this is an area that you are already in, if you're already in hospitality management and you want to grow, it's great to have a credit from Cornell University on your resume to see that you completed this program. That is only going to help you advance in your career. So if you're in this field and you want to grow, go for it. If you're just interested in learning more, maybe you're thinking about getting into hospitality, you're in another field, would this suit you? Maybe. It is a big investment in terms of money and in terms of time. Yes, it's not a huge time investment, but there's only a finite amount of time. If you're just interested in this, do you want to use your time doing this? Do you want to spend a few $1,000s earning this certificate if you're just interested? Maybe not. Like I said, with each class, you're going to get about the level of knowledge of a book. I would do some research, see if there are more resources that you can find. First, is there a book you can read? Are there videos you can watch online? If you're just interested in knowing more. If you already know you want to do this, go for it. It's a great course. If you're just doing this to figure out what comes next, it's up to you. I'm not sure if a couple $1,000 investment is the right way to go. Now, as promised, I said I would tell you how to get a free flight or a free vacation at the end of your program. If your company offers a tuition reimbursement program, ask how it works. It could be your company pays for it, you just take the class. With my company, I actually had to pay for it up front. Then once the program is done, I take my certificate, I take my receipt, I send it in to them, they then reimburse me. So if that is what your company offers, you could put this on a brand new credit card. I'm a big points and miles traveler. I use this expense to meet the sign-up bonus for a new credit card. So by doing this, I was able to earn 30,000 points that I could then transfer to other companies. So I actually used it to upgrade my flight when I left the ship, came to the Philippines. I upgraded to business class using those miles. So thanks to this certificate, was able to fly in business class on a 14-hour flight. So this is a big expense. It's going to be a couple $1,000s to get this certificate, maybe more depending on your program. Choose your credit card wisely. I signed up for a new credit card as soon as I got that pre-approval from my company, put all of that expense on that new credit card, was able to earn a lot of points with the sign-up bonus, putting them to good use on my vacation. So plan ahead, use it wisely.